Continuous discovery habits. Actually, this is about how can you get at a minimum weekly touch points with your customers and by the team that is building the product, where they conduct small research initiatives in order to drive in direction of an outcome they would like to achieve. And there are a lot of interesting nuggets in here, weekly touch points by the team that is building the product, interesting challenges, I would say. Yeah. I base some of the insights on 3 main product areas we evolved using continuous discovery habits. Maybe some of you already use Blinkist, and we introduced roughly a year ago now Blinkist guides, what is quite an interesting combination of key insights from several books connected to one bigger domain, and then led by a really famous person on this field. Here is a small example from Nir Eyal, the topic of beating procrastination, where we combine several key insights from books with shortcasts and also different other aspects that he can bring in as a knowledge bearer in this field. Second interesting innovation, Blinkist Spaces, where someone who is using Blinkist can share titles with someone whom they would like to discuss with, get in interaction with, and those other people can actually use this for free and join a space from the user. Quite an interesting evolution and bet we did here. And the third one, what we actually look at using continuous discovery habits is becoming more of a smart companion, helping our users to really leverage the value that Blinkist can provide them and remove a lot of the UI glitches, usability glitches we have at the moment. 4 to continuous discovery habits is a so-called opportunity solution tree. I find a really interesting, visual appealing instrument where you can visualize the connection between your problem and solution space tied to a product outcome and business outcome you would like to achieve, and then also connected with what experiments are you actually running and what assumptions do you need to validate in order to drive solutions and opportunities. Diving a little more into this, desired product outcome on top of the opportunity solution tree actually connects to what change in user behavior would you like to drive. As an example, at Blinkist, we have a North Star metric to increase our number of power customers. And this is on the top of our opportunity solution tree. And power customer for us is someone who had 4 or more content interactions in the last 28 days. Quite an interesting, good orientation for product teams, actually, to check if their solutions they implement actually drive this product outcome. Next level, the opportunities. I find a really interesting term that, hello, welcome Maria as power customer. The opportunities, quite an interesting term to combine customer needs, pain points, and desires, and not just talk about problems, but really combining several aspects from a user. On a high level, we discovered our users mention knowledge retention as an interesting topic, important topic for them. Our users also show that they share insights that they get from Blinkist content. How can we make this easier for them? And we also experience reader and player user experience is not yet there that people can really leverage the key insights in the best way they could. And then one level below the opportunities are the solutions. Here we speak about concrete approaches to actually solve or address an opportunity from a user. And here we connect to the 3 pictures we saw in the beginning. 3 solutions we implemented is Blinkist Guides, Blinkist Spaces, and fixing reader and player pain points. level of assumptions for me and really, really important aspects from continuous discovery habits. Assumptions is actually something that needs to be true in order for the solution to succeed. Here, the differentiation between desirability assumptions, does someone want this actually, and viability, should we build this? Does this drive also our business? Feasibility, can we actually technically build this? And then usability, will the user understand how to use this and can they use it? And ethical assumptions, is there any potential harm connected when we build the solution? Is a really, really cool differentiator to learn more about the solutions we want to build and properly check if it's worth doing that. The concept of leap of faith assumptions is worth considering because there are really a lot of assumptions we can look at, but we need to filter out the ones where we think they have the highest impact on taking a decision and where we currently know the least about. And these are actually in the top right corner here. These are the leap of faith assumptions we are looking for. Assumptions really on high level we used for the formats here. With Blinkist guides, we assume that users have a longer and repeated content interaction and that we increase their perceived knowledge retention. And for Blinkist spaces, the assumption is if someone who is using Blinkist also facilitates a Blinkist space, likely they become power customers. When we work with assumptions, the main driver here or the main topic is let's get closer to taking a decision. Should we build this now or should we abandon this idea? It's not worth doing this. Here, the confidence meter by Itamar Gilad is a tool I can highly recommend. I also linked the details here. What it is mainly about is what is necessary to increase our level of confidence to then take a decision. And you can take this as a checklist to really see, did we talk to users? Did we analyze our data? What else did we do to learn more about our solution? And how can we say with a high confidence if this assumption is now providing a strong signal so we can drive a decision? Some examples without going into all details here. This is one opportunity solution tree where you see on top 2 outcomes. This team enriched here with data aspects a little from the thoughtful execution framework connected from Spotify, chases 2 main opportunities and then has a lot of assumptions or solutions here on the bottom. Not diving into this, just giving a visual impression how such opportunity solution trees might look like. The next one from another team, also quite interesting. They actually looked at the user journey, what users would like to do, what they are actually doing in our app, what are pain points they can observe in their behavior, how does this connect to their emotional attachment when they go through this journey, and then based on this, what are opportunities we see here. We can see from our users what are solutions and what assumption tests do we need to run in order to learn more about those solutions. Also here, just an impression about this. If you would like to dive into this, we need much more time, but happy to do this in a more one-on-one session. And the third example, this is more on the assumption test level. Here you see they take an idea, a solution, they map the journey a user has to take in this solution, and on each step the user has to take, they map assumptions, and then filter out the assumptions that are the highest critical ones, the leap of faith assumptions. And based on those assumptions, they can then run detailed test and try to figure out, is this assumption actually holding true when we run these assumption tests against this? And what behavior do we need to observe, and what criteria need to match in order to say this is a strong signal and it shows that it is a good direction, or we should change it. So this was a fast run through continuous discovery habits. There's much more available from Teresa, Torres, and I hope it at least provided an impression what continuous discovery habits are about. Yeah. Second part, how can you form continuous discovery habits? Our core here is that we work with product trios. Product trios in our area consist of one product manager, then a designer, also directly integrated and forming this product trio, and then an engineer. Should be a bit an experienced one, must not be a lead engineer. And they work closely together to drive product discovery. They are embedded in our product development team, and they have constant interaction also on what did we discover in product discovery, can this already inform our product delivery, and vice versa. And for instance, they run ideation sessions in teams together, but the core driver of product discovery actually are the product trios, and they connect depending on how much interaction they need with our data experts, with our CRM experts and research experts and further domains. What we, for instance, learn at the moment is it's often really quite cool to have the data expert directly working with the product trio for especially an early stage of product discovery. There we are flexible on how we treat this. Then a next element for forming continuous discovery habits is to really enhance our product discovery capabilities. One aspect, for instance, is we embedded in-app surveys directly in our app to make it really, really easy to intercept a user at a certain stage in the app and ask them a question. And this connects, for instance, for us in the Slack channel, as soon as some user responded to a question we asked, we get this feedback live in our Slack channels where the team can look at this, and then they take those insights and map it to further learn about a certain area. And we use those in-app surveys on all places in our apps where we actually drive product discovery and would like to learn something about this. And to enable this in the app was really a game changer for us to get quite fast feedback from our users. And for some of the surveys, we are able to open a question in the morning and take a decision already in the afternoon. So within half a day to 1 day, we can inform next steps in our discovery journey. This is quite a change. Another one is to get into really fast ideation cycles. This is an example where we run a design sprint. I guess most of you are familiar with design sprints and the concept about this. And in the ideation phase from the design sprint, we already had 4 to 6 interviews scheduled. Then the interviewer ran the interviews, and some members from the design sprint actually listened to the interview and took live notes during the session. And then they wrapped it up, and we had in the afternoon already, after the interviews, or in the evening, we already had the results from the interviews and were able to inform the next version of this iteration, and were able to run this again. This was quite interesting with what speed we can generate insights and learn from our users. And the next one, thanks to our research team, we enhanced on our interviewing capabilities, the tools we use, the level of knowledge from people who can do the interviews, and also on the technical environment. how they did this, they actually ran several interview trainings with interested people, mainly people from the product trio, but also more from the organization, and enabled on a lightweight format everyone to run interviews. And now they can schedule interviews and do interviews. And this is especially helpful for our product trios because they are not longer dependent too much on waiting for someone else. They can still consult, they still delegate more deeper research-heavy questions, but they can run many of the interviews on their own, what's really quite cool. And you can here see, for instance, a small post where they summarized how to conduct user interviews. They added exercises our people can take to learn about interviewing, added a whole playbook around this, and this way externalized knowledge and enabled everyone to pick it up and use it. And number 4 is to really look into what approaches you use for product discovery and tailor the tools to what you need at a certain stage in product discovery. For us, a quite interesting learning journey, 1 or 2 years ago, we were using heavily A/B testing, quite a good instrument, but it's heavy, it costs a lot, and takes a lot of time to actually get to results. And it's only appropriate when you already learned a lot about the area you would like to build, and you already did all the lightweight and faster formats to learn about important aspects. So an interesting mapping here was done by one of our designers who actually took the different approaches for discovery and mapped it a bit on how much effort, how fast can we get results, and several other domains. And this is something we learn more and more and use also more and more to really use the right tool at the right stage of your discovery process. And another instrument to form continuous discovery habits is actually really collaborative learning and cross-pollination. Here are 3 examples. One is we ask our product trios and people in product, can we please get a full coverage from all the trainings from Teresa Torres? I can highly recommend them. I, for instance, attended the assumption testing version of it, cohort-based learning at its best, really, really cool. And we provided an incentive, 50% pays the company, 50% from the learning budget from people. And then we asked someone, please join, and then share back what you learned in whatever format you prefer this. And this works out quite well. Here's a small snippet from a workshop someone did after they joined the training. And this way we can all learn quite a lot in this area. A second approach for learning together is share discovery progress. Here our product managers, for instance, regularly get together once every 2 weeks to share their key learnings and insights from their product discovery. And regularly they also exchange on the methods they approach here. And this ties to the third one. Across product trios from different teams, we use retrospectives every 2 months, roughly, to learn what is working for you in your product trio, what can we pick up in another trio, and this way to share really the insights more on meta level about continuous discovery habits. So let's connect to agility and also to this group here a little more. I base this actually on Agile 2 values and principles. I find them much better suiting already. So please don't wonder if the words might be new here. And I took the values in a little more detail. First core value is business understanding and technical understanding. And actually the claim here is technical aware people should learn about business, and business people also should learn about tech. How does this continuous discovery habits actually help here? 3 examples. 1, the product trios, they include the technical aspects, for instance, via engineer and also designer, and the business aspects via designer and also product manager. So this is quite a good combination already to combine these 2 perspectives. On the level of assumption testing, if you look for viability assumptions, you look into the business domain. If you look for feasibility assumptions, you try to look for the technical feasibility of your solution. And the third one, the opportunity solution tree itself, on top with the business outcome defined, connects business perspective with user perspective, and then on the lower end in the assumption testing area with the technical perspective. So for me, quite an interesting match where I can say continuous discovery habits help a lot to deliver on this value, business understanding and technical understanding. Second one, thoughtfulness and prescription. The claim here is take action after you understood the situation. And the second part in here is follow predefined steps in the beginning unchanged and not yet tailored too much to your situations to really balance this out. Connecting this to continuous discovery habits. Continuous discovery habits itself, I would consider as a powerful methodology. You have a lot of practices already in there. You have steps laid out in a concrete way how to get there. And you have tons of year-long experience, especially from Teresa, Torres being more than 10 or 15 years in this field already, and many more people around the world using this already. It helps to focus on, do I understand the opportunity space, the problem space from a user, and do I connect it with the right solutions, and does it drive our business outcome? And the outcomes, as mentioned, map to business context and also to a user behavior change. So you have a high situation awareness, claim 1, and on the other side, you have a good framework, a good methodology to follow, where recommendation would be in the beginning, start with what is laid out and then tune it later when you learned how to actually apply the basics from it. Adaptability and planning part. We all know plans change. On the other side, we also need plans to see a direction, to actually present the thoughts around a direction and get people aligned in one direction. What I like from continuous discovery habits is the outcomes on top of your opportunity solution tree show the direction. Where would you like to drive the business towards, and what behavioral change from a user would you like to move forward? And continuous discovery habits also provides a high-level plan how to get there. The opportunity solution space shows what you would like to explore. You can also provide priorities on this. You can discuss about this, but it provides a rough idea in which direction you would like to go. And the continuous discovery shapes the direction. So we are really flexible when we have new discoveries to change the opportunities and solutions we chase, and still tie it to an overall direction of the outcomes we would like to achieve here. Next value, individual empowerment and good leadership. Here is the individuals should be able to decide how they perform their work. And if they have a good opportunity, they should be able to innovate and express their new ideas. They should take personal leadership on this. To balance with great leadership knows when to also step in and apply situational leadership, depending on maturity levels and context they have. Here, the opportunity solution tree and continuous discovery habits come in handy, because you can decide if, for instance, for a business unit, you let the whole business unit drive the outcomes by themselves and orchestrate all by themselves. Or if it makes sense to provide a strategic input from a senior leadership position and define the outcome, and then let the teams explore opportunities and solutions around this. Or depending on the maturity level, if it's a completely new team, maybe leadership needs to provide already the opportunity and then opens the opportunity and or the solution and assumption testing space. Connection here is product trios should own opportunity and solution space, and throughout the whole method, ideas are highly welcome, especially when we run ideation sessions to learn about solutions. Next one, outcomes and outputs. Outcomes defined as a real end result from your endeavors, and actions as, or the outputs as immediate results from steps you take in here. At the end, outcomes are what matter the most. Continuous discovery habits connects because at the top, you have impactful business outcomes you would like to drive. And everyone who is working in this area can see, for instance, by the opportunity solution team, what is the outcome we would like to reach here. So they are always connected to the business outcomes they would like to chase. Regarding outputs, it's a really speed up in learning and taking faster decisions if you go in the right direction or not. Connecting to Agile 2 principles, there are actually around 30 or something like this. I picked out the ones that I found more connecting with continuous discovery habits. For sure, continuous feedback is integrated in this method. Only proof is a business outcome. We mentioned this, or I mentioned this now several times, with the having it on top of your direction and seeing this all the time, also well integrated. Product design must be integrated with product implementation. The charm with working with product trios is that design and engineers are always seeing already the discovery phase and the solutions they explore. And it's much easier to transition to a product delivery later on, and having a good translation of what the user interactions look like and how it actually should behave. Data is a huge part in here, especially for assumption testing and driving decisions if a solution is in a good way or if you should change this. There you get a lot of data already in between. Whole team solves the whole problem. Here, product trio as part of the team, connecting with the whole team, connecting with the wider project team. There's a lot of involvement embedded too. Teams have authority to act. I would say given a lot, because especially on the solution space and how they validate assumptions, how they pursue here is something that is left up to the team. A lot of reflection and then enacting change, especially through assumption testing, is embedded. And there's also a constant validation of ideas through experiments embedded in the method. All this shows continuous discovery habits is actually a real core driver in direction of becoming agile or getting more agility in your system. Yeah. So last but not least here, next actions you could take. One is, if you would like to join a Blinkist space around product discovery, send me a direct message on LinkedIn. If you would like to get a good insight from Teresa Torres, I can highly recommend the Blinkist guide, Solve Any Problem with Critical Thinking. Well done. And if you feel like I would like to learn more here in this direction, visit me on my digital garden. A lot of the articles are linked already in here, and you can dive deeper on many of the topics. Okay, so that's as input. Now let's open the question stage. Let's bring in all your questions. What would you like to explore more, learn more about?